We have a 24-inch washer here, apartment size, and the complaint was the boot is leaking. Did a pretty good silicone job on this thing, and it's almost perfect, but it says when doing a large load with a lot of water it leaks. So we got a new boot for it. Here's the model number. You can look up online, get the right boot for your washer. To get this boot off, we gotta strip it down, get the top off, dispenser, the control panel, the front, the couple rings on the boot, and that's it. Easier said than done. We'll start here. Couple bolts in the back. I'm gonna take these brackets off because it was stackable. But yeah, the top slides back, pops up. To get the dispenser out, you gotta press this guy in, get it out. Then a couple bolts here, and probably gonna be a couple bolts here to get the front off, and then a couple more bolts here, and usually there's a few on the bottom, and sometimes there's one under there to get the front off. And then the rings have there's a spring loaded. There's a spring there. But anyway, you can get that off. Yep, like that. So I'll do it step by step here. Okay, so we got the screws off the back here, both sides. And just slide this guy back like this. There you go. I can see the top here. So to take the control panel off, we're going to take these bolts out here. Just looks like these two for now. I already got these two out here. Yeah, always unplug the washer. I'm just gonna flip this up without disconnecting the whole thing. And now we can see these bolts here that hold the front, 1 and 2. Okay, before I take these off, I'm gonna also release the door lock. You can disconnect it from the inside, but easier just to unscrew it and let it drop in, and then now you can set it back in there from the inside when the boot is off, because the connection sometimes is really hard to take off. It's multiple cables. And also, before I take the top screws out, I'm gonna take these 3 screws at the bottom here, and I don't think I need this one on this model, but on LG's you do need to take that screw out. So I got these 2 guys out. I let the door latch drop in, get these guys from the bottom out, and I gotta take the ring off. Oh, this one is hard. And the boot comes off. So now I got my door latch in there, and I just put it back in there later and put the screws back in. And there's an emergency lever to open the door. I think it's attached somewhere here. Oh, here it is, right here. If you open the door and it's locked, let's see if the drain pump problem. So, and now if I take these 2 guys out here, the front will fall off. So the only thing that was left was the door switch, the light switch. Got that disconnected, and here you go, you can see the front. So there's a clamp that holds the front on, the boot on there. It's easier if we take these guys off, a lot better access. But it looks like there's enough space to do it without it. Just 1 tube on this one. Some has one at the bottom for the drain. Okay, last thing needs to come off is loosen up the screw to loosen up the ring that's holding the boot on, and we'll get it done here soon.
Извините, но вы до 3.
Here you go. I put a little dish soap around the. If it's hard to get it on, don't put a lot so it gets really slippery. But you can do that if it's hard to put that on, new one back on. And you do have to make sure this tab is. This thing shows right here has to be lined up with this guy. Then you know you got the boot the right way. So this thing here, I think it prevents clothing getting stuck in there. So here you go, I got the last weight off. One thing I suggest to always check is your drum. See how straight it is, if it's out of balance. Sometimes you see this thing wobble. If the spider arms are bent in the back, the drum will wobble a lot. People say, oh, I'm getting burnt smell, like chafings around here, and then the drum is touching the boot. So at that time, there's no point of replacing the boot. You would need to replace a lot more than that. So always check your drum. And sometimes you can feel a little play if you're lifting it up and down. If it has even the tiniest amount of play up and down, this one is really stiff. So if it's moving a little, your bearing is going out. And if it's totally out of balance, spinning, your spider arms probably bent or breaking off of the drum. Okay, so we got a new boot on, and we gotta transfer this tube to this one. And I got the clamp back on, and I just gotta put it back together. Okay, the tube is back on. I'm gonna put the front back on. And I still have to put the weights back on too. Yeah, this was a lot easier. Taking the weights off was worth the time. Otherwise, it can get really tricky getting that boot on. Even though it felt like there's a good little gap there. Okay, we're getting closer. Front back on, panel, dispenser, top, plug it back in. I don't even unplug the water. I did shut them off just in case, but I didn't have to disconnect it. That was nice. Yeah, don't forget to plug in your light switch cable. And now this guy, I'll just do it from the inside. Pop it in, put the screws in, and I put the ring last. So there's a couple clips on the sides here on this model. Here they are. Okay, so you gotta hang the front. It's hard to see, but you have to hang it up on those before you put the top screws in, and then I put the last bottom screws in. Okay, really nice and clean seam. So I know I did a good job on the top two screws and those clips on the sides. And I just gotta put the bottom screws in. Okay, I'm gonna put the rubber back on. Two hands work better. You just work it all the way around, and if it's hard, you can put a little soap there. Makes it a lot easier. The boot comes in the box and it's all wrinkled. I recommend even laying it out or putting hot water in the bathtub for a while, because this is probably going to be an issue for a little bit. Hopefully it changes with time. Okay, the hardest part is to put the spring on, and I have a trick for that. Sometimes I can use both hands and put this pretty easily, but usually it's really hard to put it on just with bare hands. So I usually use a couple clamps for that. So I use a couple of these clamps, and I get the most of the way all the way around, and then the rest of it, what's left, then I stretch it out pretty easily without popping off the whole spring. Okay, here you go. It looks good. make sure you get the OEM boot always, because I had in the past when they don't fit perfectly and the door pops open, so it feels like it's a little harder to close the door. The boot needs to get worked in, but it looks pretty good. Just gotta put the panel back on the top and we're gonna test it. Okay, so make sure you put the soap dispenser in right this edge all the way around. So, it's very easy to get this thing kinked. So and then the screws back in there, and here we go, we're almost there. Okay, the top is on, the front is on. Looks pretty good, good as new. Let's give it a shot. Fill it up with water and turn the water back on. Okay guys, I hope this helps with your repairs. It's not a very easy one, but it is a lot of work to replace the boot, so maybe you want to tackle it yourself. The first one does take probably twice as much time if you've never done it before, but good luck, I'm sure you can do it. Thanks for watching the channel.